Ben Coleman, one of your hosts for the Florida Aviation Network, coming to you live and in the clear from the 50th anniversary of AirVenture, otherwise known as Oshkosh. For most people, it's always going to be Oshkosh. They can try to rebrand, but us old timers, it's Oshkosh. But AirVenture 50th year, 2019, and it's so refreshing every year to come back to AirVenture, and see all the technical advances, the innovation. Right now, the electric airplane is probably the biggest buzz up here. The Uber transportation, so forth. But another big buzz is setting of records and the honor of being with folks that really knows no bounds. And we're here with Mr. Robert Delaurentis. Robert.
Nice to meet you, Ben.
Okay, this is actually effective, and also the squeaking door. That's not a sound effect. That's real. Robert, thank you.
Thanks for having me on your show.
Okay, Robert, tell us a little bit about Zen Pilot and for what you're doing coming up. And it's pretty heartwarming endeavor that you're embarking on anyway.
You know, Ben, back in 2015 when we came up with the branding for Zen Pilot and eventually wrote the book, we had a lot of exposure. It was #1 on Amazon, and we had a success with that equatorial circumnavigation. And the goal this time is to do it even bigger, and that's what I wrote about in Flying Through Life. You know, manifesting the time and resources to go out into the world and do what your heart desires.
Mm-hmm.
And for us, we'd like to now do a polar circumnavigation and connect the two places on the planet where peace actually exists, which is the North and the South Pole and everybody in between.
Mm-hmm.
And beyond that, you know, we're carrying a NASA experiment. It's the first time in the history of man or woman that ADS-B will be used to track an aircraft globally. And that's done with the 66 Iridium Next satellites, with Arion and also FlightAware. So we'll have their 12 million followers following along. We're also showcasing aviation safety and technology. We have a panel that'll rival the best video game that any high school kid would want to play. And most recently, we just found out we're going to be doing some simulators that will recreate the experience after the trip for people that want to see what it's like to be a Zen pilot over the South Pole.
Well, I tell you, Robert, this is not your first gig. This is not your first rodeo. You've set some other impressive records. And why do you do this, Robert?
Well, you know, I like to think that there's more to aviation than just flying around, going places and having fun. I think every pilot becomes an ambassador for aviation. And with the capabilities of our planes, we can certainly go internationally. And I'd like to give back, and the way I plan to do it is using aviation as a tool. And in my book, Zen Pilot, you know, there were a lot of very terrifying and challenging moments, but from those things, you know, there were lessons that were learned. So I think aviation teaches us about life. It's not just about how to do a better instrument approach or how to take off or save fuel, you know, in the air. It's about what impact we have on the world.
Mm-hmm. And the impact is so dynamic, and it's refreshing to see the kids walking around here that have toy planes in their hands and zooming with the planes, and the families that bring the kids out here, hopefully trying to set the hook for what do you want to do, Johnny or Susie, when you grow up.
Absolutely. And you know, the citizen of the world, the plane that I'll use to do this 26,000 nautical mile polar circumnavigation is a pretty cool plane. It's a lot of ramp presence, composite scimitar 5-bladed props, Predator drone engines. We've got a great logo scheme with all the flags and many sponsors that are supporting this trip.
It's impressive, and I know Obi has dropped in the B-roll and the background in this video, and we're sharing this and primarily trying to bring out the safety aspect, because what you're about to embark on, it doesn't just happen. There's a lot of planning, a lot of what-if scenarios, tabletop discussions, and it involves probably a lot of people, not just you.
You know, it's been a very humbling experience because the first trip around the world in 2015 took about 6 months to plan for. And I thought, well, you know, we're more experienced this time, we have a little better budget, bigger team, it'll take about 6 months. And right now we're at 23 months, and it'll be about 26 months when we actually take off. And that's not for lack of effort, or working every day. We've been working even harder on this one. So there's a lot of safety considerations, a lot of technology that we're using. It's challenging.
And Robert, you did something a little while ago that I said we probably need to capture this, and this is taboo in the official professional film category, but show us your logo on the back, One Planet.
Okay, here we go.
Here we go. There we go. Sense of the world, one planet, one people, one plane, pole-to-pole flight. That's a great website. That is cool. And we come to you today from the actually it's the gateway to China, and it's an industry. China is becoming very, very involved in aviation, general aviation especially, and they have a pretty strong presence here. Nice footprint. We have beautiful Grace helping us. Wave, Grace. Here we go. And helping us with just facilities here. And we're going to be talking with Tim Archer later on about Z Park. Have you ever heard of Z Park?
I have not. I have not heard of Z Park.
Z Park is the equivalent of our Silicon Valley in California, in China. So it's something to learn about there. But again, it rolls into your theme of one planet, one people.
Right. The name Citizen of the World that we used for the plane came from a blog I did back in 2015. And what we found is, when I departed on my trip, I think like most of the world, I was seeing differences amongst people: color, race, ethnicity, religion. And the more countries that I visited on that trip, 26, I came to realize that there were more similarities than differences amongst people. And we really were citizens of the world. So instead I saw people as having this common desire for safety, health for their family, financial security. They had travel ambitions, and they were adventurous. They wanted peace. So we're trying to highlight the fact that there are more similarities than differences amongst people, and that's the concept of oneness.
Well, and Robert, and I know you're being humble here, but you're not trying, you are. You're accomplishing that. And the more that we can share with our viewer and our listening group and get it out, the better off we're all going to be. And is there anything else you'd like to share with us before we sign it off?
Just that, a project like this takes the help of many, many people. We have 85 sponsors, and we have a board. And, it's with that support that I'm comfortable to go into the world and take chances, to push the plane to its limits. And the aviation community is amazing and supportive, and without it, this certainly would not be happening. So thank you to everyone.
You can look right directly into the camera there and say,
thank you, everyone in aviation.
There you go. Not to put you on the spot there, but everyone I see on your sleeve, and I'm sure it's on your website.
Absolutely.
And we will patronize them, buy the products, use their good spirit, and let's press this on. Okay, Robert, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're going to sign this off from the gateway to China, and I am trying to turn our high technology camera around here. Is it Ben Coleman that we're going to wind this one up? We'll see you next interview.